Good evening and welcome to the LifeVantage National Live Opportunity Webinar. My name is Gabe Pearson and I have a special guest tonight. Surprise everyone. My lovely bride, Jill Pearson, coming off of an incredible action-packed weekend in Charleston. My goodness, we can talk for 45 minutes just on what we learned this past weekend. But as always, every Monday night, we have an opportunity for each and every one of you. So first and foremost, I just want to thank you for being on tonight. And if this is your first time on this webinar, welcome. It's the same meeting ID number every Monday night. So what you can do after hearing our incredible guest tonight, you can invite 3 to 5 of your favorite friends for next Monday night. With that said, just a little brief background on myself and Jill. We've been with LifeVantage now for a little over 9 years. I spent over 30 years in the fitness business. She was a communications expert. We never have endorsed a product, never been in network marketing before, and we were able to walk away in 22 months. And that was a little over 7.5 years ago. Now we've hit the top rank of LifeVantage Master Pro 10. And we want to share this incredible opportunity with all of you. Now, we have an incredible guest tonight. And as I started to think about this particular guest, I needed some help. And I needed my A game tonight. So I've got my better half with me to help you all understand the significance of who we have as our guest tonight.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm actually very honored tonight to introduce our next guest. I've been working with this gentleman for the past 4 or 5 months, and he means so much to our family. He's been a neurologist since 1999, and very quickly he realized the importance of nutrition and neurology. By 2008, he was actually nudging the community, the medical community, the neurologists in this biohacking movement, which simply means, if you're not familiar with that word, becoming the best version of ourselves. And with that, he has continued to grow his practice and expand. He has now co-founded the Biohacking Blueprint. I hope I said that correctly. And also, what I love is he's working with individuals now and building a strong practice on high performance. Again, making us the best version of ourselves. And he's been working closely with me so I can, again, be a top achiever and be the best version of myself. So with a big heart, and I'm just so honored to introduce our next guest, Dr. Sean ORR. Sean?
Thank you very much, Jill and Gabe. It's a huge honor to be here with you tonight, and I just want to thank you for all the kind words you've given me. It really is humbling. It's been a joy to work with you and to know you for all these years, really.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, we're humbled. We're excited. Can't wait for you to share your expertise in what you've been doing since 1999. Just kind of out of curiosity, why don't you just kind of share with the listening and viewing audience, why you chose LifeVantage? What was the reason for you to move in this direction?
Well, to me, Gabe, when you first introduced the company to me in 2012, it was a big relief for me. I felt a little bit alone, really, in this space. I had become a neurologist during the decade of the brain, and we had amazing discoveries that were coming out in terms of pharmaceuticals, in terms of the drugs. But what I kept finding was that it was frustrating at times that the medicines didn't always stack up the way that we had expected. And so often I would find that I'd have to go back to the basics and ask myself, what's missing here? And time again, it was the nutritional foundation for my patients. So early on in my career, I really embraced that idea that Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, taught us, which is that we should let our food be our medicine and our medicine be our food. And so fast forward, a decade or so, I've been pulling things off the shelf, trying to help my patients from the nutritional and nutrigenomic perspective. And then LifeVantage arrives, and it felt like a a big weight had been taken off of my shoulders, because what I'd been talking about for so long, finally, I saw other people that were seeing the same thing. And so that was very gratifying from a certain point of view. And I thought the product, the first product, the flagship product, was very enlightened. The combination of ingredients really resonated with me, and I thought that it was just a brilliant idea. And so that's why I became personally invested in LifeVantage.
Well, it was interesting to me when we were speaking a little earlier on how you already knew the term nutrigenomics and biohacking before it's not even mainstream right now. So that just kind of blows me away how far ahead you are when it comes to the nutritional side of things.
Well, thanks. When I first caught the wave very early on of biohacking, it was really out of a sense of alarm, because I saw some people doing things that I thought was really dangerous and putting themselves at risk. But after a period of time, and after more people have become aware that biohacking can mean many different things. So, if you take some coffee in the morning, you're biohacking just to get your system going. Now it's starting to gain popularity. And I thought, again, it was just a brilliant move on the part of LifeVantage to capitalize on that notion, which is really the idea that we are the product of our behavior and what we're putting into our bodies just as much as we are our own genetics. So,
well, that is so true for the viewing and listening audience that are hearing this for the very first time. Can you kind of break down nutrigenomics and help them understand what that term means?
Yeah. So the idea here is that our genes are not necessarily our destiny. Our actual genetic code that directs our metabolism and the way our bodies work is really only a very small proportion of all of our DNA. And so much of our DNA, which codes for how our bodies work, basically, so much of that DNA is regulatory and turns on and turns off based on conditions that our bodies face. So you can imagine there's a version of you where if you sit in your couch and eat donuts and pizza all day and hardly get out of bed, that's going to be one version of you. There's another version of you that looks, cut and ripped like you do, Gabe, where you've been working on yourself and you've been eating well and taking the right kind of supplements, and that's the best version of you. And so nutrigenomics really tries to convey this idea that you are what you eat. We all know that saying, right? But it takes it to another level altogether. It's the specific combination of specific supplements that have intended outcomes or results from the way that we use them to leverage the best part of our DNA so that we can have the best possible version of us.
That's awesome. I love the way that you put that. I know when we spoke for the very first time, 2012, I can't believe it's been that long now. We both, agreed that there's no way that you or I would even move in the direction of, the networking space or this company space if it wasn't for the science, behind Protandim. Can you just kind of maybe help everybody understand, no one even knows what the activation of pathways are. They've never heard of NRF2. And can you just kind of walk everyone through what sets this product apart from everything else?
That's a great question. If you talk to most doctors about vitamins and supplements, you're going to get a pretty negative response because there's a lot of junk out there that people waste their money on. There's a lot of snake oil. So picking the right supplements and the right combination of supplements is really crucial. And that's where I think Protandim really distinguishes itself on a couple of levels. I mean, one is that not only are the ingredients amazing, and as a neurologist, I can tell you why each one of those individual ingredients itself has just really great effects on the nervous system. But it really is even more than that, the combination. If you look at nylon, nylon itself is a combination of a whole bunch of different chemicals that were an accident. They were put together accidentally. Rubber for tires, same kind of deal. Some of our most amazing discoveries and products that we use are the result of specific combinations of different things that exert an effect where they never would alone. So they're synergistic. And really that's where this particular product, Protandim, the Nerf2 Synergizer, is so intriguing to me because of the fact that there is really good evidence. This is not just, anecdotal, and anecdotes are very important. I don't think we should dismiss them. How people feel when they take a product means something. But even more importantly, there's objective evidence that we can use to compare against other products that tells us exactly how this responds in the human body. And so this particular graph here demonstrates how each one of these individual components, the ashwagandha, the bacopa, green tea, milk thistle, and turmeric, they all have some effects, but when you combine them into this particular product at the ingredients, the doses and the proportions that were used originally, that effect is absolutely powerful. And it took a while for the original team that worked on this to actually come up with that right combination.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. I'm going to go back to the other slide. Can you just kind of help the layperson or the person who's watching this tonight? They might not have ever heard the term oxidative stress. I know I've been in the fitness business and really well-rounded when it comes to nutrition. I've never heard that term. So for someone that's watching this for the very first time, what is oxidative stress and why should we be concerned about it?
Well, oxidative stress really is rust. Okay, if you look at a metal object that's left out in the rain and it has iron in it, it oxidizes. The human body has its own version of rust, and the accumulation of the byproducts of metabolism is what causes tissue damage over time. Aging itself really is the accumulation of metabolic mistakes and the buildup of junk in our body that causes damage to it. So if you imagine if you lived in a house and the septic tank overflowed all the time in your house, it would not be a very sanitary place to live. Well, our bodies are kind of like that also. So we make our own junk as just part of life, okay? And that stuff can build up, and over time, it can lead to the damage in the brain, for example, that eventually leads to conditions like Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's. And the list is incredibly long. But basically, all diseases have at their root, to some degree, oxidative metabolism. So it's that oxidative stress, the rusting of the body, that causes us to age.
Now, I want to talk about the studies. I want you to kind of help everyone understand the significance of a dietary supplement that this actually has studies behind it, peer-reviewed studies, and now there's universities, studying this. Can you just kind of help everyone understand how rare that is?
Sure. Yeah, it's almost unheard of, really. Most of my early career was spent in very highly complex clinical trials where we were involved in billion-dollar studies for different medical products that were supposed to help improve neurological outcomes. To find a company that would actually devote the time and energy and the money to creating the studies to demonstrate that a nutritional product actually has beneficial outcomes is practically unique. So PubMed, if any of your listeners are interested, you can just go to pubmed.gov. This is a great repository where all of our best data and studies get reposited. And so you can actually look up the clinical information, the preclinical and the clinical data that tells us how impactful this particular product really is. Even just in the last 2 months, the number of studies on Nerf2 alone is amazing, how many are coming out week after week, and groundbreaking studies. But for these particular journals to be publishing data on Protandim itself, the particular product that we're looking at here, is pretty remarkable, I have to say.
And I think that operative word that you just said was Protandim, not ingredients that is in Protandim. So maybe just kind of expand a little bit on, the peer-reviewed studies, are on the product itself. And that's what I find fascinating.
Well, I think if you just look at some of the original data that Dr. McCord put out on oxidative metabolism and the reduction of oxidative stress, the dramatic reduction of oxidative stress in humans was quite striking. But I think that what really finally caught my ear and converted me was the study in multiple sclerosis. So as a neurologist, I've been very much embroiled in the area of multiple sclerosis because it's a tough area. Patients who develop multiple sclerosis have scar tissue that forms in the brain, and it's the result of inflammation. Treating it is a very controversial area, and I can tell you that I myself have been in the middle of battles over which is the right way to go. This particular study here that you just put the slide up, to me was a very gratifying study to read because it compared Protandim against 3 other agents, one of which, BG12, went on to become Tecfidera, which is a blockbuster pharmaceutical product that's great. It works very well for patients with multiple sclerosis. It is very costly. And in this particular study, Protandim actually performed better than Tecfidera did. It performed better than any of these agents in the study. I was mind blown when I saw this. It really just shook my foundation because, first of all, I thought it was pretty bold for anybody to even take this approach and try to do this study. But then, I was kind of waiting for the pharmaceutical industry response, but I think, you can't touch it, right? What can you say about the results when they're this good? Really
especially when the study was done by the pharmaceutical company who made the drug,
Right.
And
wow.
to me, I don't know, maybe it's just my upbringing. I've always been on the prevention side. For me, it was a no-brainer because in my mind, I know how Protandim works. It gets your own body to do its own work, right? What your body was meant to do. And you can't outdo God. That's how I look at it. It's an all-natural product, and then you have something that's synthetic that wreaks havoc on your organs, drug-on-drug interactions. Well, of course, if you got the right combination, like you said, the synergistic effect that changes the chemistry, that's the holy grail, in my opinion.
Well, and I think that's one of the hallmarks of biohacking. The idea of biohacking is that you want to have the highest degree of health and wellness that you can achieve. And in balance, that means minimizing side effects everywhere that you can as well. And so from a prevention standpoint, there are agents that you can take that will reduce the presence of free radicals in your body, but none of them can quelch free radicals like this particular product because this works at the level of the DNA. So it's, from a prevention standpoint, just a very eloquent, beautiful solution.
Now we know it's an anti-fibrotic, Gabe, and it's also an anti-inflammatory. Dr. Ward, can you speak on the anti-inflammatory piece of that? Because I think that's fascinating.
Sure. I think a lot of people are really cluing into this idea. I think you have a study there from Washington that actually kind of just generalizes this discovery that basically NRF2 activation is maybe in some ways a holy grail in the anti-aging arena. It has such wide-ranging effects to reduce inflammation and, as you mentioned, fibrosis, which is really a manifestation of inflammation. And aging, being an inflammatory disorder, generally speaking, is something that we're all trying to limit, reverse if we can. So it seems like NRF2 activation is a common denominator. It is something that if we can affect that particular problem, we can have major benefit across all organ systems. So it's a very exciting discovery, and I think we're going to see a lot more development around this area in the coming years.
I remember when I got started with LifeVantage in 2009, this is not an exact number. I remember there was, less than 10,000 peer-reviewed studies on NRF2 activation, and I haven't been on PubMed in a while, but I know that it's approaching 100,000, if not even maybe more. So it's something that's here to stay. It's coming with us or without us, right?
Yeah, I believe that's correct. And you don't see that kind of exponential explosion of studies if there isn't something really valuable underneath it. You wouldn't see so much energy from the scientific community being put into discoveries here if it weren't really groundbreaking.
Yeah. Now we have one more slide for you that we were talking about, and that's the National Institutes of Aging study. And I was with the CEO of this company, Darren Jensen, this past weekend, and we were talking. We have a breakfast for all of our elites and the executive team of LifeVantage, and we were just conversing and talking about how when this study came out, this groundbreaking 10-year study on how come people aren't just going absolutely berserk wanting to take this product because it's the first study ever to say that extends life, you know? So can you just kind of maybe walk everyone through the NIA study?
Well, yeah, sure. So this study came out in the very first year that I was officially a doctor being cut loose on the world. And it really caught my attention. And I think it's one of the reasons why I was so enthralled early on by the effects of nutrition on aging. And the fact that there was all of this focus being placed on the aging process by the National Institutes of Aging, it was really exciting because before this study, it was kind of a taboo, which sounds ridiculous. I mean, you would think in healthcare we're trying to, help people, but honestly, the idea of extending life and reversing the aging process was considered probably inappropriate in some circles. This really unleashed us to be able to be free and talk about the idea of combating the disease of aging. And so this is a remarkable flagpole, if you will, or a marker that we can look back and say, this is when things changed. And what was so remarkable about this notion here is that Protandim extends lifespan in the studies that it's been looked at. And so we really didn't have anything else that we could say does that. And 7% may sound like a small number, but if you think about it, when you're now, middle age seems to be starting in the 60s, right? The way that the lifespan is being extended by, right? So yeah, midlife crisis happens at 68. You get your red sports car. So 7% is a big number now. And if you think about, from a certain perspective, we're really kind of getting to the point where we may see an escape from the aging. An escape velocity here coming soon. And I think Protandim is a big component of that.
Yeah, I asked the chief science officer, that 7%, how did that equate in human years? And she said 3 to 5 years. And Dr. Orr, what I tell everyone is, you don't take the product to try to extend your life. You take the product because you'll have a better quality of life. And, so if it's impacted, mice this significantly, and every drug that I think everyone's ever taken has started, if not in a petri dish and then lab animals, right? Before it got to humans, it's significant, so, I'll do anything that I can, not only to slow down the rate of aging and the susceptibility to disease, but if I can positively impact my lifespan, I mean, my goodness, why wouldn't I,
Well, and the reality is, we're all going to die eventually, right? I don't think any of us are living with the delusion that we're going to be immortal. But the big difference is, how are you going to spend, the rest of your life? Do you want to spend it with pain and aching and disability and having somebody else have to help you with your activities of daily living? Or do you want to be independent and strong and self-sufficient and able to help other people and give back to society well into the very end of your life? And that's a choice that you can make. Again, because your genes don't dictate your future. The behavior that you take around your genes will make all the difference in the world. And so I think this is a really important component of that.
Yes. So before I let you go, any parting words with, let's say, someone who's watching this for the very first time that understands the importance of their health? Would you recommend this product to them?
Oh yeah, I do. I routinely do. This is a big part of my patient care. You know, as Jill mentioned, really now I'm focusing on high performing individuals. And you know, if you look back in the early days of my career, it was all about rescuing people and helping them to repair their nervous system after they'd had strokes or, you know, traumatic brain injury and that sort of thing. And I learned over time that the application of those principles to somebody who's healthy can really enhance their capabilities and extend their IQ and extend their ability to get more things done in life. And so to me, Protandim is a critical component of the armamentarium. It's something that I pull out of my tool chest very, very frequently. I would say almost all the time when I'm dealing with somebody who wants to be a high performer and wants to enhance their capabilities, this is a frontline agent. So I do recommend it routinely.
That's awesome. Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for your time tonight. I'd love to get you back on and maybe talk about maybe the NRF1 activator, or maybe you know, another product that we have. You know, coming from your spin, coming from the neurology world, you know, we'd love to have you on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. I'd be delighted to come back anytime.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, folks, you heard it from the biggest, the best, the brightest right there. Okay. I can't, you know, do anything else to help you to understand the enormity of what we have. And now for those of you that are not only looking for the health side of it, but also looking at it from a financial side of it, let's kind of move in that direction to kind of help you to understand, you know, the opportunity. And before I get into that, in addition to what Dr. Orr was talking about on our Protandim NRF2, I think it's, you know, a perfect segue to help you to understand that we came out with what we call our core 4. It's called the Vitality Stack. And it consists of Protandim NRF2 that Dr. Orr was talking about, our other activator, a probiotic, and a fish oil, our Omega Plus. And the Stevie Awards is a very prestigious award. It's equivalent to the Oscars. And out of 3,900 different products in 74 countries, our Vitality Stack was rated #1. So, and that's from the health and pharmaceutical category. And this is a nutraceutical. So just piggyback that on what Dr. Orr was talking about, NRF2. Now you understand the significance of how our products are now being recognized worldwide. So I thought it was very, very important to help you understand this about our Vitality Stack. I'm not going to go into all of our products. We just revamped, you know, our physique line. It's gotten smarter. We've got NRF2 activation in shampoo now, so we have a skincare regimen. Just get with the person who invited you to this webinar, and because these are category creating products, I don't have the 40 minutes to cover on each product. And believe me, if I spent 2 or 3 minutes on these products, I would be doing it in injustice. So what we try to do each Monday night is really focus and drill down on a certain product to help all of you understand why you and everyone that you love should be taking these products, okay? But we have a variety. I think there's up to 18 products now. A little bit about our company. We're publicly traded. So everything that Dr. Orr just came out of his mouth, he cannot embellish. I love the fact that it's transparent. And spending the weekend with our executive team, like the slide says, we have exemplary, you know, corporate leadership. The CEO of this company, Darren Jensen, has spent over 25 years in this industry. And what he's done in the last 3.5 years is handpicked his executive team. And across the board, it's average of 25 years. So you can just say that we have the Super Bowl, you know, executive team. The significance of Darren Jensen, our CEO, he was asked to be the CEO of a CEO roundtable that included the biggest network marketing companies in the world. These are billion-dollar companies that he's helping mentor their CEOs. So I want to really spend a couple of minutes helping you understand who's behind the helm, who's steering the ship, and just take a look at what the stock has done in the last year. So it's taken him, a good 3.5 years to turn this ship around. And now everything is moving in the right direction. We had our largest quarter in the history of LifeVantage just last quarter. And what I want all of you to understand, I know there might be a sour taste in your mouth. Oh my goodness, everything Dr. Orr said, everything Gabe said, it was picture perfect until I heard it was a network marketing company. Folks, listen to me. You better get over it because everything is moving in that direction. We're getting rid of brick and mortar, and that's all network marketing is, a different way of being paid. So what I want all of you to understand, it's now the second largest industry in the world. So what I want all of you to understand, this company had no intentions of being a network marketing company. It started out as a biotech company. But from 2003, when the company started, to 2009, you could have bought Protandim, NRF2, on a store shelf. Guess what store shelves cannot do? They can't communicate with you, right? And with all due respect, they were in the 1,600 GNC stores in this country. The person who's behind the counter couldn't tell us the difference between a direct antioxidant and antioxidant enzymes. And it failed. Stock dropped all the way down to 17 cents. The company's one signature away from going belly up. Thank goodness they hired a consultant. The consultant says, come on, guys, it's an easy fix. Take it out of the retail world. It's too complicated. Put it in the oldest form of marketing. Word of mouth. Relationships. Just needed a story. That's how you built your business if you own your own business. Through relationships, word of mouth, and that sort of thing. So what I want all of you to understand, it's very, very unique. Most network marketing companies come up with a product first, then sell it, right? This company, the product came to LifeVantage. So really look into that. So I've been fortunate enough with Jill to watch this company grow from $3 million in revenues to just under $250 million today. When we started, we were only in one country. We're in the United States with one product. Now we've got, what, 18 products? And look at the flags right now. So we're getting ready to open up Spain next month. So this company, it's projected to be in over 100 markets. And right now we're in less than 20. Guess what? There's nowhere to go but grow. Timing is everything in this business. And that's what excites Jill and I, to be able to see this business thrive and to grow. And what's fascinating is you can build your business on this little booger right here. It's laptop lifestyle. It's what Amazon is doing. It's putting businesses, out of business because of the brick and mortar, right? It's social sharing now. So what I want all of you to understand, we have an app that you can download and you can you can build a multi-million-dollar business without showing up. If you like the beach like we do, you can build your business at the beach with that smartphone. So it's fascinating on the direction that companies are going in now. I mean, look what Uber has done. Look what Airbnb has done. Look what Amazon's doing. They're moving in that direction. And when you become a business partner of LifeVantage, when you partner with this publicly traded company, you're going to have your own replicated site. And guess how much money it costs you monthly? Nothing. So if you just would know how robust your back office is behind that screen right there, you've got an entire library of multiple ways of building an incredible business. So it's an incredible business model that is moving in the direction of this slide right here. I mean, look at 2011, 158 billion in revenues. I don't have the 2018 slide up because they're still tinkering with the numbers. The projection is a little over 200 million. I think I heard 220 billion, not million. So it's growing by 30 and 40 billion every couple of years. Why? What are we doing tonight? We've got close to a couple hundred people on this webinar all over the country and abroad. And we are in our office in Jacksonville, and we're touching all of you all over the country. So we're able to expedite the speed of what it takes to build a business now. That's the reason why network marketing today is the second largest business in the world. We're only second to oil and gas. And there's been more millionaires created in this industry than all traditional businesses combined. And by the way, I had to look that up because I didn't believe it, right? It's a big deal. So take a look at the industry and understand the industry. I have so many people say no to something they have no idea what they're saying no to. And then, of course, if you really respect Warren Buffett, I think he knows a little bit about businesses. He knows a little bit about money. He says if you're going to get involved with a network marketing company, you get involved in the beginning, before the wave, not during the wave, and certainly not after the wave. And he owns a network marketing company called Pampered Chef, and he says it's one of his most profitable businesses because of, the brick and mortar. All right, it's completely gone. So if you look down here, the bottom left of the screen, that's where we are. We're in the very, very beginning stages. We're not even branded yet where this little purple X is right here. And branding, if I would mention companies in this industry, like Mary Kay, a light bulb will go off in your head, right? Or Avon, light bulb goes off in your head. But now I say LifeVantage. The reason why it's a disconnect, because we're not at this little purple area right here, which is what we call critical mass in this industry, or branding in the traditional business. Now, momentum phase is where 80% of market share is, 80% of growth. And if you are a distributor, I think the number is if it's 125,000 distributors, it's what is called ground floor opportunity. Folks, we have 35,000 in the United States, and that's a guess. It's plus or minus a few. So that's the reason why there's such an upside. In the next 3 to 5 years, in my opinion, every household in this country is going to have now heard the terms that Dr. Orr was talking about. Biohacking, right? The Nutrigenomics, the activation of pathways. It's all coming. It's a new paradigm in health, all right? It's not a Me Too product. This is not like a weight loss shake. That's the flavor of the month. So timing's very, very important. And I think this is the most important part of the entire night, is so many people are building somebody else's dream. Actually, it's 93% of people are building somebody else's dream. Why? They don't have the means to have the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or in some cases millions of dollars to own their own business. So this is a great way to start out like Jill and I did as a side hustle. That's the new term now. That term wasn't around when we got started. It was a second stream of income, or maybe a third stream of income. So what all of you understand, it's extremely inexpensive. We call it low, low.
It's a low barrier entry.
Entry, that's what the word I was looking at. Low barrier entry. I mean, look, there's only 2 of the 3 ways I have here tonight. You can actually get started for $350. For $350, you're going to own your own distribution company. You're going to own your own international distribution company. For $350, 300 of it, folks, is product. Worst case scenario, you become healthier, right? And you're buying $300 worth of product at 20% below wholesale. Then there's another pack that you can sample a little bit more of our products for $650. You're buying $600 worth of product at 25% below wholesale. So the value is a little bit better than the $350. If you want to sample all of our products, get the $1,250. You're buying $1,200 worth of product, and you're buying it 30% below wholesale. It's an $1,800 value for $1,250. The risk in each of those three is the $50, business in a box. How to build your business. That's the risk. All right. So it's very, very, very small. And you can see on the right side of the screen, corporate takes care of production, quality control, shipping, customer service, IT, advertising, marketing, legal, accounting, promotions and things like that. All we do is get customers and business partners, and they take care of everything else. So what sold me on the opportunity was the $200 cost it took to operate the business. To kind of give you an idea, our wellness company, which was doing right around $1 million for the year, just our payroll alone was $50,000. So what's 50,000 times 12? 600,000 of that million was just going to payroll. Well, what about everything else you see on the right that we had to pay? And what was left over was chunk change. It would just drive me absolutely insane. And I was in that hamster wheel, and I wasn't going anywhere, and I was putting more hours in than anyone else. We got hit hard financially, thank goodness we did, to help me to understand, to think a little bigger, a little faster. So what I want all of you to understand, the cost of doing business. If you own your own company and you're sitting down with your accountant and he or she's got the balance sheet out and says, your fixed costs are $200. That's all it costs to operate your business. If you're a business owner, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? You're going to say what I did. Give me 5 of those, right? That's what I want you to understand. And then what this industry makes it so much easier for all the little people like myself and Jill is you can offset the 200 by 160. So you can go out and enroll 2 or 3 people, and then your cost minimally to operate your business is $40 a month. I could be selling dirt and I'm in, all right? But it just so happens you heard one of the top neurologists we have talk about the category creating science of what we have. And we folks look at it like this. We have no competition, okay? No one can come up and say, I have an all natural, NRF2 activator. So that if you're a business owner, what if there's no competition? I don't care what kind of business you own. If you own a dry cleaner, you're the only dry cleaner in the world. You're the only dentist in the world. You're the only lawn maintenance guy in the world. Good thing, bad thing, right? You're not going to be able to track fast enough because you got too much business, right? So that's what we have. And on top of having no competition, what sold me was the ABC primetime, right? Now you have ABC News knocking on your door saying, hey, we've been hearing nothing but great things about your business. We would like to do a positive spin on it. Would it help you build your business? Jill and I got to the top of this company by pointing, guiding, directing people to the video and then putting them on the phone with somebody smarter than us. And if you're listening to this or watching this for the very first time, can you do that? That's how simple this business is. Now, I'm not going to take the time to go into all the ways of being paid. I think the most important way of being paid is the passive income, is the leveraged income, doing something one time and getting paid again and again and again. It would be equivalent to this. You went to work today, you worked your 8 hours, you got paid 8 hours. You come into work tomorrow morning and your boss has this funny look on his or her face and says, what are you doing here? Boss, coming to work, I want to get paid, I want to make some money. Well, we're going to pay you today what you did yesterday. How fast would you turn around and walk out the door? Jill and I have been distributors for 9.5 years. We are still getting paid on that very first month 9.5 years ago. And guess what happens? It accrues. It grows exponentially. Never forget J. Paul Getty's #1 quote. he have always said he would much rather have been paid 1% of the efforts of 100 men instead of 100% of his own. That's how we get paid. So the royalty commissions is passive income. It's not linear. Linear is trading time for money. How's that working for you right now? All these years. I worked in the fitness business over 30 years, and the word retirement was nowhere on the horizon. We were able to walk away in 22 months because of passive income, leveraged income. And our claim to fame is we've been able to help 25 other families do the same thing. So get with the person who invited you tonight and really have them walk through all 8 ways of how we get paid. Okay? It's extremely gratifying for Jill and I, when you hit a certain rank, to share in worldwide revenues. When Jill saw that, all her chips were in. That was so over my head, I didn't even know what it meant. I thought it was once a year. It's once a month. So in other words, when you hit Pro 7, if you look at the bottom right screen, see the 7 right here? That's when your business is doing $100,000 a month. Now, don't think you have to do it all yourself. You could have 4 people on your team doing $25,000. When your business is doing $100,000 a month, the company will allow you to share in 1% of worldwide revenues. Now, folks, listen to me. It sounds a lot bigger than what it is because we're only in 14 or 15 markets. Fast forward a couple of years, do you think we're still going to be in 14 or 15 markets? Every time a market opens, you get a raise, right? Now, when you hit the 8th rank, when you double that volume, doing 200,000, the company throws in another percent. You're sharing in 2%. And when you hit the 9th rank, doing $500,000 a month in revenue, you're sharing in 3%. Where Jill and I are, we're in the, we're sharing in the 4%. That's the Master Pro 10 rank. So how big do you want to build your business, folks? It's that simple. So we have an income disclosure statement. I love being publicly traded because this has to pass through muster, the Federal Trade Commission, the Security and Exchange Commission. And if you look at the premier ranks, the 4, 5, and 6s, would an extra $1,100 a month help you? That's just $10,000 a month in revenue. You can have, 5 people on your team doing $2,000 each. And that's a mortgage payment for most of the people in this country. And if you look at Pro 6, that's college education startup money right there. That's over $60,000 a year. And we have people doing this in 3 and 4 months. Our last 3 elite distributors, actually 4, did it in less than a year at this rank right here. So get with the person that invited you, have them walk through this income disclosure statement with you, have them walk through all different 8 ways of being paid, and just understand this. I'll close with this. For every dollar that goes to LifeVantage, 48 cents comes back in your pocket. It's a very robust compensation plan. Now, if you're in the sales world, how would you like to get 48% of what you sold? Think about that. And I'll leave you with that tonight. It just doesn't happen, right? So hopefully you really, really was able to hang with Dr. ORR and understand the significance of what we have our hands on. And we have the privilege of pioneering this new paradigm in health called Nutrigenomics. So with that said, any parting words, Jill?
Just thank you to all the guests online tonight. Just enjoyed being with you tonight. And thank you, Dr. ORR.
Yeah, what an honor and privilege to have him. He had so much value, not to only our team, but to the company LifeVantage in itself. So with that said, we'll see each and every one of you with 3 to 5 of your guests on next Monday night. Same meeting ID number at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Everyone have a great night. This is Gabe and Jill Pearson. Take care.